few basic points before we start the session. So all the teachers, we have all kept you on mute. If you have any questions or anything during the session, I would request you all to please make sure that you put in your questions here on the chat box, because we have 1,000 participants today here in the webinar, and it would be really a challenge if we are going to give you the permission to unmute. So that will create a lot of chaos, because we have 1,000 participants. So I would request you during the program, please put all your questions here on the chat box. And after the session is over, we will be providing a feedback link. So please take 5 minutes of your valuable time and give us your feedback and suggestion. And also we'll be providing e-certificates to all the participants who have taken so much time out to be part of the session today. So thank you all so much, and we all have a happy learning session today. So over to you, Vidushi ma'am.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. Hi, teachers. Thank you for sparing your time on this slightly cold afternoon in Delhi. And as you can see, I'm wearing a sweater. I'm one of those very, very, very cold people. If there were to be raining in July, you would most likely spot me in a sweater in July. Right. So thank you for, first of all, thank you for all the hard work you're doing. I personally have been a teacher. I've taught pre-primary kids, and I also know that all of us have worked tremendously hard during this COVID lockdown. We have had to upscale, we have had to upskill, and we had to do so very much during this time. Today, I'm going to speak to you about storytelling. Essentially, what is storytelling? I would love if all of you could comment. So, one of the essential agreements that I want to form right now is that all of you just keep answering and keep talking to me. If there's any particular aspect that you want me to answer or you want me to talk about, just put that on the chat box. I have my eye on the chat box and I'm going to talk about it. Today, I'll tell you the plan. The plan we have right now is that I'm going to do 3 stories, live stories with you. Hopefully, you will be able to take them to the classroom. But first, we'll talk about why stories. If we can move to the uh, some participants are raising hands. So instead of raising hands, if you could just drop in your message on the chat box, it would be superb. Now, why stories? Shweta, can we move to the second slide? Stories are inherently human. If you really want to know somebody, just ask them a story of their life. Now, when we call it a story, it may look like a big deal. However, when we talk about anecdotes, small things that make us human, and that's a story too. So, stories are inherently human. It obviously involves two-way communication minimum, and that is the way the communication of it all becomes better. There is a big scope of learning in when we have a story going on, and a story can be used for, somebody just said improvisation, of course. A good storyteller improvises according to her audience. And vocabulary, we do not give it enough credit, but when we speak to people, when we talk to people, we always make an impact with our words. And these words are what our children are listening and assimilating in their system, and hopefully they will be using them. Storytelling, Nitya, you're right. Storytelling is an art of creating an imaginary world. Sometimes this world can be imaginary. Sometimes this world can be absolutely real. Sometimes we can use these stories to bring about real life concepts. Concepts like being comfortable with yourself. Children these days, and not just these days, we've always had access to stuff that we never, that our parents never had access to. And yeah, you Anuradha saying conversation, somebody saying speak out. Absolutely. So all of this helps us in making our storytelling experience better. Good afternoon, Lakshmi. It helps in child's attentiveness. Absolutely. By being a storyteller, by moving your hands enough, by using puppets, by using properties that you make, you can make an absolutely great storyteller. Children are always looking at their teachers for creativity, being funny, making them laugh. And all of that we are going to try and do today. Absolutely. So you're saying that stories increase our child's imagination. So yes, stories can, I always say this. You don't have to go to the moon, but if you read a story of the moon, you can feel what the moon may look like. I mean, I am pretty sure I'm going to be not going to be lucky enough to go to the moon in my lifetime. But if I read a story, if somebody told me the story of a moon, I may realize that I know what the moon would feel like. At the same time, these can have different learning outcomes. In fact, I plan to do a story of the moon with you today. Second is we can teach to be kind through stories. We can teach to be intelligent through stories. We can teach to be emotionally intelligent through stories. We can teach to be mindful through our stories. And we can also integrate any subject that we are teaching through stories. Stories, there is an inherent need in humans to communicate. uh, they say women can't stop talking, but I say that human beings can't stop talking. And that's such a good thing. If we all stop talking, trust me, the development that we see would reduce. The first stories witnessed for human beings have been the cave paintings. What was this need for these Neanderthal people to paint on their caves how they hunted? Because they wanted to tell you story. They wanted to tell their generations to come that if you hold a spear this way, these are the animals you could hunt. This is the way you could gather food. So storytelling is not something new. It is definitely not a concept that has just come to our schools in the past 10, 20, 30 years. It is as old as human beings. If you agree with that, let me know. If you have any different thoughts about it, let me know. It improves acting skills. Sure. So as you can see, I'm a big actor. Right now, I'm acting in front of you. So of course, I mean, it leads to better diction, intonation. The word monotone. Monotone, it was a monotonous lecture. Monotonous means we take it from the word boring. But monotone is like a flat tone of voice. And imagine if I did my entire workshop talking like this. Right now, we have 1,000 participants. It would reduce to zero. Madhuban would tell me, please, you're not welcome here today. So that intonation, that speaking, that breath that you take, those expressions in your voice, all of this makes for a great story. So are we ready for this journey? Show me some thumbs up. Show me some. Yes, okay. We are ready for this journey. I hope you can tolerate me for the next hour and 20 minutes. Right. Can we move to the next slide, please? Now, there are different types of stories. Fiction, non-fiction can be further. So fiction, we all know, something which is make-believe, something which is not true. Non-fiction, we know, okay, Vidushi is wearing a gray sweater. So this is a non-fictional statement. It's true. Adventure, Sinbad, Alibaba. These are adventure stories. Myths, mythological stories, Ram, Ravan, Kumbhakarna, Mahabharat, the Medusa, the Greek Zeus. The Greeks have a very rich fabled history of mythology as well as we have in India as well. Fables and legends. This mountain represented that. So some fables are also there. And I want to bring a new concept of pourquoi tales. Pourquoi tales, it comes from a French word. I'm going to do a pourquoi tale with you. A pourquoi tale is usually a knowledge-bearing tale. It tells you why. For example, a story in which they say why the snake has no legs or why the tiger has stripes. why the moon changes its shape. So I'm going to do one Porqua tale with you. I'm going to do one non-fiction tale with you related to art. Art is something which is tremendously ignored in our country. Although we have a very strong foundation of art, look at our architecture, look at the Meenakshi temple, look at the temples in Mount Abu, look at the temples in Vaishno Devi Hills, from top to bottom. Look at the palaces, look at our Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, the oldest civilizations. So I'm going to go a little bit into nonfiction also today. So I plan to do 3 tales with you. First, I'm going to do a tale of colors. And how a very simple tale, something which will, because we are going to do it practically, I've got some stuff here. And trust me, I'm acting like a housewife. I've just collected all the stuff from the house. You don't need to go to the market to buy a thing. Okay. I am like that housewife on a budget. I'm going to be that girl. So do not, yes, Elephanta Caves. I see some Fox and Grapes is a fable. Yes, and in India, our Panchatantra, our Jatak Kathas, we have a huge history of storytelling. And so do all the countries. All the countries which have a rich civilization have one thing in common, which is they have taken their stories from one generation to other. Stories do not just have to be for knowledge. Stories do not just have to be for entertainment. They could be for persuasion. For example, I want to persuade you to be kind, or you want to teach me how to be mindful, how to respect others. Stories can play a part there as well. Any feedback, teachers, is welcome. I am looking for constant feedback. If my voice is too shrieky, my husband thinks I shriek a lot, okay? So if my voice is too shrieky, let me know. If I'm going slow, let me know. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I'm here for you. So some people are raising their hands. I do not know what the raising hand or how I can help it here, but I just request you to, just drop your, okay, great. So my voice is perfect. Thank you. I'll let people know that my voice is perfect. Thank you. So I'm going to keep going, and great. So I'm going to go ahead with my story number 1, which is a story about colors. Can I be allowed to share my screen now?
Yes,
I'm going to bend down for a while, teachers, and I'm going to collect the things, right? So I'm just going to bend down. So this is a story about mixing colors. And what do I have here? I do not even have a good drawing sheet, okay? I've just picked up my children's board. I put a regular A4 paper here. Something that you can do. Teachers, my idea of this workshop is not to give you anything that you will have trouble finding. Anybody can find a board or maybe a back or a book that can support your paper. All right. My voice is so sweet. Thank you. I hope you say this after 1 hour. So I've got some paper here. Now I've got one bowl in which I've got some water. That's it. One regular steel bowl. And I've got some colors here. These are also old colors. I did not buy a thing for this workshop. Do not do anything which makes you go out of the way, because when we go out of the way, our efforts will over time gradually reduce. Something that comes naturally to us is more possibly done. And what do I have? I have a plate here in which I'm going to mix colors. Everybody has a plate in their kitchen? Show me thumbs up. Some of you are on video. Everybody has some water in their house and a small bowl and some colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a painting with just my fingers. And I'm going to tell it in a story format. I'm also going to share this story with you on my screen. So now this story is about mixing colors. this child is here mixing some colors. I've got my assistant here. My son is helping me. Akshat, you want to come and say hi to them? Just say hi to them. 100 people from South India. That's his hand. He's my assistant holding my things. Akshat, can you hold my things? Thank you, Akshat. Now, my first story is red and blue are. So I've got some hand raising. Mix the red and blue colors. So I'm going to mix them right here, okay? So I'm going to mix them. I'm going to open my colors now and I'm mixing them. So this is a story about telling how few colors can make more colors. Okay? So there I go. So I'm going to mix red and blue color. So I've picked up red color in my finger. I'm not doing anything special. And I've got some blue color. Hold this. And I'm just going to mix them here. So now you see, I've got red here, I've got blue here, I've just mixed them up. And you ask the children, what color did you take? So they say red on one finger, blue on one finger. And I'm speaking like a primary child. And then you say, you mix it. And it says, mix the red and blue color. It turns into purple. And you see, now my color has turned purple. And in this, with this purple color, I'm going to make C. So I'm just, and your children can do this too. They don't have to be perfect artists, but they're just going to make their C. I've made my purple C. And you reinforce. This is a non-fiction story. The idea is, the learning outcome is that your children should know colors, and not just colors, but how to get different colors by mixing them. Now I'm going to mix my red and blue colors. I'm going to ruin a towel in my house. So I'm ruining that towel now. And now I'm going to mix the red and yellow colors. So I've got some red color again. And I have got some yellow color again. This may look messy, but this is what a real classroom looks like, isn't it? So now I mix my red and my yellow color. So now I'm mixing my red and my yellow color. And you ask the children, what color did you get? So I got, and then you say, and it turns into orange. So now I have orange color. And ask your children to make sun. And I have got an orange sun. Yeah. And then you say, mix the blue and yellow colors. Then you ask your children, okay, from your palette, can you find out the blue color? And then children say, yeah, because kids know primary colors. And then they say, I've got my blue color out. And then you say, mix the yellow color. So I'm going to mix the yellow color. And then you can do stuff like abracadabra, abracadabra, and we've got green. And then you can make some grass with your green. Hold it. And if you're lucky enough, you will have 2-3 assistants in your house. I have only one. So I'm going to make some tree here maybe. Here my seed. I could make some grass here maybe. And look, I have something that a child will be able to create. Now I'm going to mix my green and purple, which I already have. So now your children have many primary colors, and then they have some mixed colors. They have purple, they have orange, and then they have green. So we will mix the green and the purple, and it will turn into brown. So there you go, and they turn into brown. So same way, hang on, you could create something brownie as well. I mean, I'm obviously not able to create something as beautiful as this child, so I'm going to make some brown birds. And there you go. And as a learning outcome, you can ask your kids, what did you learn? What are the colors which made? What are the colors you used? Now, every story, especially non-fiction ones, I'm simultaneously washing my hands. As you do a story, especially a non-fiction one, yes, I could have, Manjusha, yes, I could have made a stem or a bark of a tree, but obviously I'm not that creative. So hang on. Thank you. You can keep the colors down. Thank you, Akshat. So this was my non-fiction story. You could use, now, is this something that you could do in a simple way? This is something we can draw bear. We can also use a very simple story now to bring out what? First is to bring out the colors of mixing color story. That is one. We could also bring out creativity in our kids. Like you guys are being so creative. I could have drawn a bear, I could have drawn an aeroplane, I could draw a boat. Same 4 5 colors. It took me what? It took us what, 5 minutes to draw this painting? This small little painting. And pre-primary kids, they love to do it experientially when they do something with their own hands. So that's something. We could draw clouds, of course. Now, obviously, I don't have as much brains as you have, Miss Selvi, but we could draw clouds as well. So now you could use this small non-fictional story to build up in any way that you want to. Did you enjoy this story? Okay, great. So doable at home. You don't have to get anything special. In fact, you know what? I got a rough sheet. I did it behind a rough sheet. I did not even waste paper for this. So you could, and if you are doing it on a rough sheet, you could even bring home the topic of recycling or reusing. So just one small story can lead up to creativity, patience. After that, you could do it on hands wash. You say that now we are going to wash our hands, remove all germs, remove all colors, and you could even give a concept of primary colors, secondary colors, something which is big, something that we always read in science books. So are we going to try this story in our classes? Show me thumbs up. I see a lot of Colgate smiles. That's nice. That's good. I like that. I love it when teachers smile. All right, great. So any feedback for this story? I'm going to wait for 1 minute for feedback to this story, or how have you done something like this before, or would you like to try this in your class? So just chat away, chat it out. And okay, great. You would like to try it. Makes me very happy if you try it. Keep sending, your trial pictures to Madhuban's Facebook page, or send it to Madhuban team so that they can also display. And we can definitely, this, when we try things, we get to know how we could do it better. And Madhuban team is always trying to get better. So maybe this will lead us into something greater as well. Okay, now that's one story. Now I want to do one more story. Everybody ready for my next story? Have I not bugged you enough? Okay, great. So this story is about, okay, now this story, great. I'm getting a lot of yeses. This is a very agreeable group. My family never agrees with me this much. Okay, so I'm going to do a story about children in a competition. You give activities to children that we are going to do this. Let's see who comes first. And in this story, so children are supposed to collect. What are they supposed to collect? They are supposed. I have a daughter who's 8 years old. And I've collected some toys from her friends as well. So I have some toys here, and I have a bag, a regular bag that you would have at home. Huh? But this activity, we would have to do it when we are with children. Give me a few more animals, smaller. My assistant is at work. He's getting his pocket money today. So now, okay. So this story is about, I've collected a lot of toys for you guys today. My neighbors, I sent a message in my tower group. I need this, I need this, I need that. Right. So this is a story about collection. Teacher has said, and this we do it also. The teachers say, okay, I want all of you to collect some animals from the classroom. My son is asking me which channel is this on YouTube. He wants to watch it. I don't know. Shweta, you want to answer that?
Ma'am, I'll WhatsApp you this YouTube link. If he wants to watch, he can watch it on YouTube as well.
Okay. He's going to, at moments like these, he's very proud of me. All right.
WhatsApp you right away, ma'am.
Right. So we are going to do a story about collection. Teacher has asked kids to collect some stuff. Now, in this, generally what children do is they want to collect the most. Isn't it? All kids say, I am going to collect the most. And in that process, sometimes they cheat. Sometimes they take things away from other children. So I want to show you a story on that. And I'm going to take you there now. Just allow me 1 minute and I'm taking you to that story. It is, like I said, stories can be used for teaching humane values as well. And if we teachers, we always take on these roles of doing things and giving back to the society by teaching our kids the correct value. Now, this story is about give them back. Now, teachers, especially if you are teaching from a book, so you should supplement things with things that you have, and also a book if possible. If possible, it is not a given that you have to have something. Now, tell me, what do you think is happening? What do you think is happening? Predict. Teachers, go on. And it's a very good idea to ask children to predict climate. Like you look at a picture, or you look at a toy, or you look at a face, and then you say, can you predict what this is going to be about? And when you are predicting, you are developing the skill of drawing conclusions. You are predicting and you are teaching the skill of inferencing. You are teaching the skill of classifying and contrasting to the children. I am waiting. Some of you have raised hands. I am very interested in the chat that you send me. So let me know your thoughts about what do you think this picture is about. I'm looking at the chat. You've all seen the picture, right? So, okay. So child is not sharing his toys. Blue shirt is waiting to get toys. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Not willing to share. Okay. Great. So we already have some predictions. By doing a prediction, what are we doing? We are making our children think. So we are not giving away the essence of the story. We are not telling them in the beginning, today I'm going to tell you a story about sharing. Today I'm going to tell you a story about love. You are asking the children, what do you think? And it is the curiosity that you need to arise in the children. So by asking in the beginning, always teachers give 5 minutes to think. Like I am asking you, I'm I'm explicitly asking you your response to my questions. And imagine if I asked you and I gave you the answer immediately, would it help? Not really, because you were not able to tell me what you thought. Same with children. We need to tell our children ways to think. Now, I gave you a hint that I'm going to give you a human story about human values. So you thought in that direction. When you show a picture, you can ask your learners to look at expression also. What do you think the faces are looking like? Are the faces? Now, I'm going to show you the faces and I'm going to ask you, who do you think is the central character of the story? You could answer it in the chat. Now, so children will make a guess. Okay, so somebody said blue shirt boy. Why do you think you said the blue shirt boy? How do you know? So ask questions which say, how do you know? This is an important word. You think Vidushi is very friendly. How do you know? Or you think Vidushi is very arrogant. How do you know? You think Vidushi is very talkative. How do you know? So asking this question, how do you know, is really important. The others are looking at him. That's why you know. He seems to be happy. Others are looking angry. Correct. He's having the toy basket. Correct. So you see, now you've analyzed. You have looked at the picture clues because others are looking at him. You have looked at the picture clues and you've decided, okay, he's the central character. So now let us see what this central character does. Now, this story is about an Easter egg hunt. Now, it could be anything. It could be an animal hunt. It could be a stationary hunt. It could be an eraser hunt. It could be chart paper hunt. It could be a book hunt. Anything. You do not have to stick to the story. I'm talking, and simultaneously I'm showing you pictures so that it gives you more ideas about what you could do in the classroom. Now, the Easter egg hunt is starting. He has a sneaky, now one of our characters has a sneaky plan to win. What is he doing? He takes one egg from Maria's. One child is collecting and he's taking the egg from the other child. Same way. He's taking another. So we are on an animal hunt. So he takes the rabbit, the kangaroo from the other one. Then he takes the dog from the other child. So this child is collecting his stuff by taking things from the other child. And now, look at this line. This is an important line. They all talk to Jaden. They all talk to Jaden. And Jaden agrees and he gives back all the eggs. Simple story. But we are going to talk about what this story taught us. And do children do this? Show me by a wave of your hands or a thumbs up. Do children do this? They take away things from others and they say, I've got it, I've got it. Now, this is a concept which I purposefully chose this story. Because one, it happens. It happens right in the beginning. And it may lead to not displaying integrity, not having integrity of character. It can lead up to non-sportsmanship. It can lead up to competitiveness. It may lead to a feeling of trying to win, but by unfair means. Winning is great. We all want to win, right? But we want to win fairly. Now, you could supplement this story by asking these questions. And I'm going to ask you these questions. So my first question is, and teachers, you can respond over the chat. You could ask, now this is a story that you've taught. Now, each story, especially about human values, should be supplemented by probing questions. Questions that lead to development of higher order thinking skills. And how do you do that? So you ask a question like, why do you think all children came to talk to Jaden? So this is my first question. Can you write the answer in the chat box? Why do you think they came to talk to Jaden? The boy who was taking away everything from their basket, why did they come to talk to him? That's my question number one. To get back the eggs, okay. He cheated everyone because he collected all the other things. He collected more to take back. Okay, great. So this is something, this was a question from reference from the text. We could look at the book and we definitely know this happened. Now, what was underlying in the text? What was not completely clear? And that was, why do you think it was important to talk? Was it important to talk? Not beat him up? Children beat up other kids also. Why was it important to talk? And I'm looking for responses now because this is the most important question of this story. Why was it important for the other children to talk and not to fight, not to beat him up, not to complain? Because children, their first resort is to complain to the teacher, right? Children do that in the classroom, right? Ma'am, sir, they did that, they took all away my things, and they start crying. So what are we teaching here? You are right. You are saying they were friends. So they want to keep the friendship alive because they want him to be honest in playing. They want to solve the problem to make him understand. These are all correct responses. And these are the responses. A story on its own is never a complete story unless it's discussed. You could even form these discussion cards. You could even write these questions on a piece of paper and children could mark their responses in figures because they can't write, right? They can draw their responses also. And so you're saying, somebody's saying to correct him and value to be honest, teaching non-violence, human way. These are all correct answers and great answers. You should know that for children, it's about the ball. For children, it's not about non-violence. They don't even know the meaning of non-violence. For children, these are very small things, but one small thing that you can definitely bring about through this is the importance of talking, collaboration, teamwork. They did not go and talk to him one by one. They went and talked to him together. So the power of collectiveness also. Did anybody sharing unity? You are absolutely right, Miss Gopala Krishnan. Sharing, yes, Miss Selvi, yes, Miss Palani. So you can, that's one of my questions. Now my next question from this story is, what would you have done? Now you ask your children, what would you have done in this egg hunt or this animal hunt? And now children will tell you what. So even if somebody wants to collect toys from everybody else, they would say that I would collect toys honestly. And that is a value you wanted to inculcate with this story. Now, yes, so honesty, participation. When you ask children, when you put the child in, and this story, you could easily even do with a role play. One child could be Jaden, one child could be Rama, one child could be Biju, one child could be Shweta, one child could be Vidushi, one child could be Sunil, one child could be Harita. And when you make, and especially when you give role plays to children, they always engage more. I'm sure you are doing role plays in your schools with your kids. They are just the foolproof way to get children involved in the story. So that was one of the stories. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If you did not enjoy it, let me know. Both ways is absolutely okay. But see, it's not the story. It's never the story. It is never the content of your story. It is always what you do with the story. It is always the questions that you ask before, during, and at the end of the story. It is always the thought process that you ignite in the child after the story. If you are teaching a human value, then you need to talk about that human value. You need to put the child in the shoes of the central character of the story. And just telling a fabulous story makes no difference. Would you agree with that? A story on its own is nothing. A story becomes a great impact on my life, and children are highly impressionable. Whatever, and teachers are their gods. Teachers are their moms and dads put together. Teachers are everything for our children. My children, they never listen to me. I have 2 kids. And if their ma'am says something, if their ma'am told them get up 4 o'clock in the morning, they would do that. So teachers are these role models that children just follow. And it is you who can elevate one incident to a great story that impacts the rest of their life. And also, there was a research. I want to talk about this research now. Children were asked, who's your favorite teacher? And so with this, I want each one of you to just close your eye for 1 minute, close your eyes and visualize your favorite teacher. Who your favorite teacher was. Now, write the top 3 traits of that teacher in the chart. Don't even go with top 3. Just go with 2. Top 2 traits of your favorite teacher. What did that teacher do that when a stranger like me asked you to close your eyes, you thought of that one person? She was caring. My maths teacher, but why? She was friendly. She was good. Always, never scolds. Friendly. Understand. Friendly. Polite and caring. Motherly. Caring. Very polite. Teaching well. Dedication. Non-partiality. Affectionate. Always guiding. Thank you for your responses. Thank you. Keep them coming. Now, can you see this caring? Listening to me. She always listened to me. Is a quality that children love. Even if they give you a wrong answer. Even if they give you the answer that you were not expecting to get. Refrain from saying the word no. Say the correct answer. Mold it in a way that it comes back to the answer that you want. And you were saying methods were excellent. So a good teacher is always creative. According to a research that I want to share with you, this was conducted in the UK, and they asked children across, and these were the top 5 traits that came up for a good teacher. One was listening. My teacher listened to me. No matter what I did, my teacher always listened to me. My teacher was also disciplined. My teacher disciplined me, and my teacher was disciplined herself. So a good teacher is not always a teacher who gives in. A teacher is always somebody who gets the best possible response from you. And with little children, we can do these through stories. I hope we have a bigger definition of a story. I hope we understand stories as not just tiny incidences. No. A story is so much more, and a story can overlap. Imagine the people who you now, just like you visualize your favorite teacher, visualize the person that you like talking to, you enjoy talking to. Why do you enjoy talking to that person? Why do you enjoy communicating with that person? Why do you enjoy? So somebody said, my mom. Give me the why. She listens to me, very approach, responsive, good listener, happy face, look forward to meeting them, cheerful, understanding, non-judgmental. That's good. I like this word, non-judgmental. Relaxed, understanding. I can share anything. My husband. Your husband, you are lucky. She responds quickly. Smiling face. Okay. And who are the people that you enjoy listening to? Who are the people that you enjoy and why? Why do you enjoy? So right now you've answered me why you like talking to them. Now tell me why you like listening to them. Tell me the whys. Sense of humor. Great. Keep going. My daughters, but why? Magical words. Okay. Smiling face. Expressions. Interesting topics. Again, husband. Innocence. Positive vibes. All of this you need to give your kids. You need to give them attention. You need to give them positive vibes. You need to give them a smiley face, even though you have so much stress inside of you. I'm working. I'm sorry about this. They're all working from home. So, thinking practically, get correct ideas, takes decisions, boosting up your mood, open minded. All of which you've written here, you need to be this for your children. And chances are that you already are. A non-motivated teacher would never attend a webinar like this on an afternoon where she could be having tea and some good snacks and murukku. So great. So this thing I wanted to bring out. So I'll reiterate what we have done till now. One is we can tell all kinds of stories. We have done a non-fiction tale till now. And we have done a human story with emotions right now. This is what we have done. We have used props which are easily available. We have not gone out of our mind, out of our way to collect some stuff. Being accessible and things being accessible to us is an important, because as teachers, we are not just doing one storytelling. We are doing a hell lot of things, right? You are doing so much all day long. So I'm sorry about that. It actually is my daughter's birthday today as well. So a lot of stuff is happening in the background. So that's one. We have learned that a story always, so teachers, if there is one thing I want you to take out from today, that will be that. Thank you for your wishes. Thank you. I wanted to say this in the end. Thank you so much. Her birthday is special to me. Also, I'll tell you why. Because I thought I was going to die giving birth to her. So it's a lucky day for me. Okay. So the one thing that I definitely want everybody to remember out of this story is that our stories need to be supplemented with questions. If you do not ask questions, no matter how many props you have made, how many things you have made, how much effort you have made in your expression, voice, intonation, mood, lightening up your room, it will not work. So are we going to ask the questions after each story? Show me thumbs up. Okay. Are we also going to ask questions before our story? And are we going to ask questions in the middle of our story? So questions. Questions should also be open-ended. When you ask questions like, was Jaden a good boy or a bad boy? Children will obviously say good boy, bad boy. Why was he somebody that you do not want to be? Then you will get responses from the children. When you ask, and we underestimate our children a lot. We think our children cannot think beyond 1 or 2 words, but they can. Maybe they cannot express it. But you ask them to draw their own story, they will do it. You ask them to represent it through figures, pencil drawings, they will do it, even if they cannot talk. So that's one thing that I'm saying, that if they cannot express themselves verbally, there will be other ways that our children can express themselves. So questions, questions, questions. Can you see how many responses we have got today? And why have we got them? Because I'm asking you. Because I am making sure you respond to me. I am making sure. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Thank you. So thank you for responding to me, because when we respond, when we communicate, we get to know that this is making an impression on our learners' minds. So we will ask questions beginning, middle, end. We will not just ask straight questions. We will ask open-ended questions. No matter what our children answer, we will correct them, but not correct them by saying no. We will correct them by saying, I understand what you are saying. I can hear you. I can understand what you're saying, but I also think this could be true. So answering like that is also important. Are we good to go with that? Any feedback of this session till now is very, very, very welcome. I have been a fan of Madhuban books. They're full of stories that you could use all the time. You could use them in any walk of life. A math story would also equalize itself in an English story. A Hindi story or a vernacular story would also equalize itself or integrate itself in other concepts of life. So go through the books, go through the digital material, go through the things that you see, and you will find ways of doing it. Now I have some puppets, my final weapon. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I made and some of the things that I borrowed. So simple hand puppets, huh? So now these are some of the things that kids have made. In fact, they have made it almost broken. I have to hold it up. So just ice cream sticks and fish. These are just some hand puppets. Again, a fish, a dolphin, again a fish. And I also have some puppets, some finger puppets, which I bought from the market. So like this is a duck, or this is a teddy bear. So you could do your animal stories with these. When you are doing stories with the puppets, just remember to keep them close to your face. The children's attention or vision is not very large. Children focus on a small area better. The periphery of their vision is small. So keep the puppets near your face. Keep the puppet. If you put it too far away, if for example, this happens in real life, there are two teachers in a classroom. One is telling the story, one is doing the puppet. What happens is the child's attention is divided. The child doesn't know what to pay attention as, because the teacher who's saying the story is also making all kinds of faces. And the one who's making the puppets is also doing all kinds of things. So the attention may get divided. Yes, you made it with so you could, a very good idea with storytelling, especially with pre-primary learners, is to keep your props near yourself, near the narrator. The other person could just help you with things. And keep those stories short. Do not give very, very big stories. Sometimes we think a bigger story would be a huge success. Maximum 5 minutes if you are the world's greatest actor. That's maximum. Like if you've got awards in acting in your school, then 5 minutes. If you are like me, 2 minutes. Okay, so I am going to do another slightly bigger concept of the moon, which is a pourquoi tale. How many of you had heard of this word pourquoi? I'm writing this in the chat box. How many of you had heard of this word before? It's a French word. I'm writing this in the chat box. So, okay. These are tales, like I was saying, mostly has animals. So why I want to bring out a pourquoi tale is because I want you to know that, you've gone out of the session, you learned something new. I mean, a session becomes more fruitful to me personally when I have learned something out of it. So my idea of giving you this concept of pourquoi tale was this only. So I'm going to say the word pourquoi, 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 pourquoi. It's a French word, very stylish also. Okay, great. So I'm going to take you to my pourquoi tale now. I'm taking you there. Just bear with me for like 1 minute. So now I'm starting to share the screen. This is the last story of the day. As you can see, this is the pourquoi tale. This is the case of the disappearing moon. Here, the idea is to teach you a science concept, something which we would ideally teach through diagrams. I'm going to teach it through animals and some hand puppets. And I'm going to intonate it as well. Let me know how I did. I don't have a squirrel, I have a rabbit, so I'm going to do it with that. The sacred squirrel. The squirrel was scared. He could not eat. He could not sleep. He could only worry. So you are now expressing yourself. You're acting it out loud. And as you can see, if you have children in front of you, you could move a bit in the classroom also. But right now, children are not there in the classroom with you. So you will have to keep your actions to your chair, because children can't move that quickly between things. What's the matter, Squirrel? Asked Raccoon. Why are you so worried? Haven't you noticed? Asked Squirrel. The moon is disappearing. We'll have to collect all our food, otherwise it'll become too dark. The moon is not disappearing, Raccoon. Remember, it keeps on changing its shape. But next night, the other animals also observe the moon. It is actually getting smaller. Can you see? The moon is getting smaller. So then if you have something, you could highlight it like this as well. But next night, the moon is getting even more smaller. So the moon is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And the squirrel is getting scared and more scared and more scared. And she's worried, where will I get my food from? The squirrel is right. I'm trying to get to your chat messages. One second. There was, okay. Can you all see my screen? Because I thought some of you can't see my screen. Can you see my screen? Show me thumbs up. Okay. Squirrel is right. The moon is disappearing. Now some animals come. What is all this? What are we hearing? The moon is disappearing. Look, yesterday there was such a big moon. Today, very little bit of the moon. What is happening? It's disappearing. Now, these are all the animals which are coming out at night. Now there is a wise, let us call him our rhino. So we have a wise old rhino. He's saying, you are all so silly. You are all so silly. The moon doesn't have light of its own. It is like the light bulb. Your room is the moon. Only when some light falls on it, it shines. Otherwise, it doesn't shine. So then you could maybe have a torch in your hand, or maybe switch off the light in your room, or switch on the light in your room, and you could tell your children. And I'll get a ball. I have a big ball, but I'm going to show you and how we can. Allow me 1 second. I have a small tennis ball, which could work as your moon. And you could show that if light is falling here, now it is becoming dark. Now, so you can see this play of light. You could just show it like that the moon doesn't have light of its own, but when light falls on it, it shines. And then you could say, then you could teach a very scientific concept that the part of the moon which has light. Now you see my ball, can you see the shine in the ball? This side there is light and this side there is no light. So you could use, I'm not going in the nitty gritty of this story. I have 62 comments that I haven't read. And okay, and you could teach a scientific concept through a Porqua tale as well. And the idea behind this Porqua tale is, and you could create an easel like that. You could even draw out your moon. You can draw out the different phases of the moon, and you could talk about why some sites. So if depending upon your learning outcome, if you want to teach day and night, you could teach that. If you want to teach different phases of the moon, you could teach that. So basically you could teach, and over time you can show that don't worry, the moon is not disappeared. Like our owl is saying, the moon is not disappeared. The new moon will come, and you are teaching a scientific concept. And you could say in the end, and again in this, you could do role plays. You could do role plays as well. So that was a small Porqua tale. The idea of a Porqua tale is the why of something. So here it was why the moon is changing shape. So a non-fiction story wants to give you information. A fiction story wants to persuade you for something. Either wants to persuade or wants to inform and entertain. And a Porqua tale wants to inform you something with the help of animals. And children love animals. This was essentially my third story. I hope you have learned something new with homemade stuff or home stuff. You know, something that you could create just like that. You could draw, no extra effort required, but a big smile on your faces, which children obviously love to see. And all the ladies who are not smiling right now, please smile. So this is how we can deliver some stories in our classrooms with a lot of love and with a lot of creativity and with the learning objective that you have, the objective you want to get. That's the idea of storytelling. So if you have any, we are at 4:40 right now. We have about 15 minutes. If you have any questions, I would love to take them up. If you have any questions from any other area of education, not related to storytelling, those are also very welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So yeah, as you were saying already, so teachers, if you have any questions, yeah, put it on the chat box and we will take the question from there and we will definitely, ma'am will help us with the answers.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all your kind words. Thank you. You guys are making my evening. Thank you, Ms. Sujata. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm really looking forward for some questions. Your questions would make my day so much better. These could be any questions, anything that you feel I can add value to. I will try to answer it to the best of my capability. I'm not the expert, but I'll still try to give you some answers. So one thing I definitely want all of you to know is you don't have to go out of the way to create anything. Things can be created at home. Do not take stress. If at all you have to deal with stress, give stress. Do not take stress.
Ma'am, there's one question which says, can you please explain an EVS topic related to stories?
Sure. I mean, tell me the EVS topic you want. Tell me.
Anything, ma'am, probably water or how to save water or wash your hands. Anything, any topic if we can take it.
Okay, let me look into my repertoire of stories. I would definitely have something.
Cleanliness. Okay, some teachers are saying cleanliness.
Okay, sure. So I will just take you there. Cleanliness, huh? Okay. Just allow me one moment. Okay. I am going to show the smallest story, just 40 words. Only 40 words. And the story is called Clean is Not for Me. Clean is not for me. Now, this person doesn't like to be clean. So basically, this is a funny story. And all the ways you can get dirty. Mud is for my shoes. Then you point out to your shoes. You tap a little with your shoes. You make some noise with your shoes. If you want to get if you're brave, you would even get some mud on your shoes. Ketchup is for my shirt. So this is an anti-cleanliness story, but at the end of it, you can tell your children, look how messy you got, and you're looking dirty, you're not looking healthy, and you should get clean. Paint is for my hat, dirt is for my socks, hay is for my hair, clean is not for me. So this is an antithesis of your clean story. This is a non-cleanliness story. So basically, see, the idea is you guys are teachers. You can create a story on anything. And by reading the small stories I've given you, it is to tell you that stories have no definition. There is no particular kind of story which makes a brilliant story. It is you who makes a brilliant story. Now, at the end of this story, you could ask, why would a person want to put so much things on herself? Why is cleanliness not a good thing for her? So children will say something. Why is cleanliness not good for me? Why don't I want to be clean? Then you would say, would you like to be clean? Why? Do you think a clean house is better or a dirty house is better? And sometimes Children will say this, that a messy house is better because I'm allowed to play. Some houses are so clean that children are not allowed to play. Some classrooms are so neat that I don't know whether children even entered those classrooms. So, any story, now this cleanliness story that you read, it was a non-cleanliness story actually. But you get to the concept of cleanliness. You can tell story on anything. Madhuban team, you need to organize another session for number work. Good touch, bad
Sure,
touch.
numbers, good touch, bad touch. Yeah, that is what even I'm seeing. Numbers, how to tell stories on number. Good touch, bad touch. And also many. Achha, there's one question here I just saw in the chat box which says you were telling no, you should ask questions before the story and after the story. So, but if they are asking questions in between or during when they are narrating the story, so there was a question: will it interrupt the flow of the story, or what do we answer for that, ma'am?
Okay, my answer for that would be, now remember the Pokwa tale I just told you, and this I stop at the point that the squirrel has collected everybody, and she's talking to the animals how scared she is. Now I ask the children, what do you think the squirrel is talking about? What is she going to say? Why is she so scared? Would you be scared? So I'm not essentially stopping the flow of the story, but I'm developing the story further in the mind of the child. And remember, attention span of children, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And if you do not ask them questions, they are gone in their own world. They have started imagining their own squirrel. So if you do not stop, especially young learners, if you just say the story from beginning till the end, and if you do not stop them, do not ask them questions, there is a very good chance that you've lost them somewhere in the middle.
So you say that we need to ask in-text question, like narrate one line and then ask questions on that.
And these questions could be not just reference from text, like who was scared? Everybody knows their squirrel. But why? What do you think will happen next? And by asking this question, what do you think will happen? You are lighting the matchbox of imagination.
Yeah.
Then the children start thinking, going into overdrive. One child will answer something. I was also thinking like this. He stole my idea. She stole my idea, and whatever children, adorable things that children do.
Right.
So it depends upon how you integrate it in the story. It can lead to a loss of concentration, but it can also, at the same time, depending upon how you take that, it can also lead to an elevated story. And you know what? This is one of my favorites, alternate ending. I ask my children, if you were there, what would the ending look like? So that's also another thing. So when you ask children, what would your story look like? You could, and you are developing authors then. In children's mind, they are becoming authors, they are becoming writers, they are becoming speakers.
So ma'am, again, relating to the stories only, there's another question. I mean, I'm sure like this can happen to everyone at their own pace and time, but still there's a question. How many stories in a week should they do for pre-primary kids?
I think if I were there, I would do everything through a story. Like, remember, see, I'm trying to, only thing to know is that a story should not be a standalone, that I am doing a story now. It should not be a standalone that, oh, I have story time, I need to find out the story. Integrate it to whatever you are teaching. And then story will not be a story. it will be a part of your learning and your active teaching. So if you have a playing day, then maybe no story. If you have a dancing day, then maybe no story. But if you have a concept day, then maybe 3 stories. Why not? Completely depends on you. No right answer for this. How much time the story should be if I'm taking 1 hour class, not more than 5 minutes. Your talking time should be more than 5 minutes. Talk to children. So please give ideas for online story session. I could do a story on my body parts. I could do a story on different body parts. I could, children have this thing about, I don't know about North India, especially Gora, Kala, who's fair, who's not fair, different body parts, fat fingers, thin fingers. You could do all of this online. You could show different people. You could show people from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and you could show that we are all human. Human beings can look different way. So there is, if this pandemic has taught us one thing, it has taught us that anybody can do anything sitting anywhere. You can be equally productive everywhere.
Ma'am, one more question. What's your opinion on negative ending stories?
Generally fairy tales have these stories, not negative ending, but definitely negative starting. There was a stepmother of Cinderella. In today's world, when some of us are getting married again, some of us are getting children from our husbands or other wives, or at least all of us want to get married to somebody else. In this world, when the concept of stepmom, stepdad is so common, they don't always have to be these evil creatures. So a negative ending story could lead to a negative impact to some children who are very sensitive. So we need to be mindful of how we say these stories for sure. But removing negative ending stories from their world is also not the solution, because our world is not a bed of roses. You need to tell them the wrongs in the societies as well. So, but definitely those stories which have stereotypical beginnings, I marry a boy and I live happily ever after. I have long hair, so I'm beautiful. She was a very fair princess. We definitely need to remove all of this. And as teachers, children can't even read at pre-primary level. Children are depending on you for the formation that you give them. You know, chubby cheeks, cute cheeks. We only give this chubby cheeks are cute. We only give so much. Oh, you are so fair. You are so beautiful. From the very childhood, we only start giving these concepts. The princess found her prince, and she lived happily ever after, as if the idea of the girl is only to marry somebody and to live happily ever after. Girls are doing so much. You are all women. We are learning so much, doing so much. Why does a man have to be everything? And these little children we are teaching, Cinderella, Rapunzel, which cut her hair and made her ugly. If somebody has short hair, does that mean that they are ugly? And 7 dwarves, they are scary, living in the forest. Why? Dwarves are part of human life. Anybody could be a dwarf. It's just genetics. It could be one DNA here and there. Why were those dwarves living in the jungle? Because nobody let them live in the city, in the palace. So we can actively remove all these crazy things that were happening 500 years earlier, 1000 years earlier, and bring out real world stories, stories that will make an impact today. And especially around beauty, we have such a morph definition of beauty. My daughter, you have no idea. She's all the time in front of the mirror doing this to herself. Am I beautiful? So I tell her, it is your actions that will make you beautiful, not your face.
Okay, ma'am. Now there's another question here. how to handle mood swings of children?
The way you handle your own mood swings, which is first to recognize them. First step is recognizing that we have mood swings. And children, so if you feel a child is moody on a particular day, is not responding in the mood that you want, maybe you want to talk to the child in person. One of the things that I have seen, and I'll give you this example, this has worked for me. My children, my own children, I have two, my son and my daughter. And you know what we do? We ask children, how are you? And they say, I'm fine. I'm asking you, how are you? You will say, I'm fine. We don't even allow the response, I'm not fine. We don't even give the scope of somebody telling us, I'm not feeling good today. The accepted response for this accepted question is, I am fine. Thank you. How are you? Start by telling your children how bad your day was. Do not say, did you have a bad day? Are you not feeling good? Tell your children, you know what? I did not have a good day today. Why? My boss scolded me. I failed at my work. I fell down when I was playing in the park. When I was running, I was not able to catch anybody. Say all these faults from your own self. And you will see that children will tell you their stories. We all always ask, are you having a good day? Of course, everybody will say, I'm having a good day. Why would anybody even tell me they're having a bad day? I'm not even interested in listening to if they're having a bad day. And to get a response about the bad things or the negative things, we have to accept it. We have to tell our children, I had a bad day. This was the reason I had a bad day. And then you will see yourself, you will see that your children are talking to you. I hope I was able to answer your question in
We
some
have
way.
stubborn children. How do we gain their attention? Yes, ma'am. I mean, what you're saying makes sense. Yes, we understand. Yeah. So if it is stubborn, how do we grab their attention towards us? Like, we're
So a
also
child
stubborn.
did not get stubborn in one day. Nobody was born and born stubborn. It is always nature versus nurture. And in that nature versus nurture, we as teachers are just part of the nurture. Although we are a very important part, but we are still a part of that nurture. So we need to talk to parents. We need to observe behavior. And I am no psychologist. So if I say anything wrong here, my words are not to be taken and written in a book that Vidushi said this. But I have realized this. And we need to observe the surroundings. We need to observe, is the child sleeping enough? Is the child eating too much junk food? Is the child eating nutritious food? Is the child accessing content on TV which is all about fighting, fighting, fighting? Doraemon, Bad Bacha Shinchan. I don't know. I don't know what all is there, but there is a lot of things on the internet which is just making our kids behave like this. So my daughter's dialogue, I'll tell you. My daughter's dialogue, whatever, whatever. You say anything to her, she will say whatever. Of course, whatever. So it is because she's watching those shows also. So sometimes when we see stubbornness, see, some children have this tendency of being stubborn versus being docile. But they do not have to be on such high ends of the spectrum that it creates an imbalance in their life. And as teachers, we can play a small role in reducing that imbalance, which is by talking. Do we have any feedback form for this session?
Yeah. And that I'll tell in La. And I'll make announcement of the feedback form.
I hope I answered your question on stubbornness a little bit.
Yeah, so there are a lot of questions flowing in. We will certainly keep another session because we're very overwhelmed by seeing such a great response. And we had like 1,000 participants here on Zoom, and we had more on YouTube Live. we're very happy to, see some overwhelming response. We'll certainly have another session where we'll have topic on good touch, bad touch, or how to do numbers with stories, and few more things. We'll get in touch with schools at all the 4 states, and that as well in a later session some other time, because of the time constraint also we will have to wind up. So I would request Sandeep to please deliver thanks. But before that, Sandeep, I'll have to unmute you. Just a second, I'm searching for you on my participant list. Okay, so Biju, I'm unable to find Sandeep. I'll just request Dinesh sir to deliver the vote of thanks. Mr. Dinesh Babu is AVP of Madhuban Educational Books South Zone, and we wanted him to say 2 words, but he's been very kind enough to sit through the session and see how it is going on. So I'm just turning the laptop because my laptop suddenly crashed. So yeah.
Will I also get to say thanks?
Ma'am, good evening. So, ma'am, it was an excellent session, like being so what is going in the YouTube.
Voice is
And there was about 2,000 plus was the registered in the afternoon. I got the update from the Shweta and our colleagues from IT from Vijay and Delhi. So he was telling me 2,000 plus is the registration. So we were thinking, okay, what to go about it. And finally we decided to go on YouTube live also. And thanks a lot, ma'am, for being today. And so kindly you were explaining all this thing to the teachers. And I could see that you are also like a small kid, and the way you were explaining for everybody's liking that actually how the small kid would be in the KGs actually. Thanks a lot, ma'am. And it gives immense pleasure to me today to be the part of this session. And I would like to thank bottom of my heart to the entire teachers who is being really supporting us from the lockdown time and showing interest to all our webinars. So which is close to our 65th or close to 70th webinar we are nearing from the lockdown. And in every webinar, I could see that there was a kind of a bottom of support as coming from the teachers. Unless the teachers you in this platform, if you are not supporting us, it will not push to do more and more webinars. And thanks a lot, teachers, for being here today. And we at Madhuban certainly will deliver same kind of a programs. And there was a request coming from my team in the WhatsApp to me that ma'am is saying that numbers, introducing numbers and good touch and bad touch, how to educate to the small kids. That's very, very important topic. And I would like to also be to understand how it's going about it. Ma'am, Vidushi ma'am definitely will come back to you. And so kind of you, I mean, it's very thoroughly enjoying kind of a session, because we were thinking that we have gone back to again to the online Indian teacher. So, when I studied KG, there was an online Indian teacher used to show in the KG session to take for KGs, and now experience it. I can see that a lot of teachers was expressing the feel that the way you express into the classroom, I hope it would be very, very helpful for the entire teachers to go back once to new normal to normal life. We are hoping that it will come soon, so the schools will reopen and the teachers can go back with all this enriched experience and deliver to the entire crew, the team who has really put an effort for the entire South team, all the managers and all the colleagues who really worked hard, entire team. And over to Shweta. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I would like to thank Vidushi ma'am and all the teachers once again. And regarding the feedback form, you will be getting the feedback form in your email. So how you receive the joining link as an email, similarly, you will be getting the feedback form in your email. And we will also be sharing you the e-certificates, but that will take a little time because we need to prepare for like almost 1,200 participants. So that will be taking some time. But feedback form, you will get it by today, tonight or tomorrow morning maximum. Okay, so thank you teachers once again. And I could see there was a message regarding the recording also. We will be sharing you the link, recording link. We will be sharing it to you. So you can watch it and share with other teachers also who missed the opportunity to be part of this. But we will also have another session with Vidushi ma'am, and we'll certainly do it as per ma'am's availability. So thank you all. Thank you.
I want to say one thing. I want to be incredibly thankful to all of you to listen to me. And so listening to me is obviously very important. I like it. But second thing is for responding so much. That just made my day. That just made my day. And thank you for Madhuban team. I know I've been troubling everybody by saying, I'm busy, I can't talk right now. But thank you for, taking care of all my whims and fancies and, just organizing this so flawlessly. It's wonderful. Wonderful. And all my love to all of you teachers. Mwah! Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and wish you a very happy birthday to your little one. So, yeah, please enjoy your evening. Thank you so much. So, this is the primary pack, which I was as a backdrop, and we were playing the video in the beginning also regarding the ICANN for the teachers who joined in little late. So these are all, we've just set it up as a backdrop, but we will, I'm sure a lot of schools are using it. And for others also, we will do e-sampling and sample the books to you. So thank you all so much. Thank you.
Great. Hope to see you ladies and gentlemen again. Bye.